Hello again. I figured I would give a quick video review on the Carputech Android Auto and Apple Carplay adapter for the Toyota Rav4. We've had it in for a couple of days and we're probably going to uninstall it. Not because it doesn't work, but because it doesn't fit with the needs that we have. And there's a couple of technical limitations of the device that make this the case. I'm going to review them very quickly on this video. The first one, and probably the most important one, is that the clarity of the video is not as clear as it could be. If you look at this very carefully, what you'll see is that the video is not actually using the exact pixels of the display. If I compare this with, say, the display on the stock navigation, you can see that this is a lot crisper than the display on the CarPlay system. And I think that why this is happening is, in order for them to actually get the video to show up on CarPlay, they are intercepting a video input into the device, which is actually analog, and then rendering a digital display of analog. That's my guess on what's going on here. I may be wrong, but it looks kind of like an analog display on a digital screen. And that's evident in two ways. The first is you get this sort of pixelation and slight sort of blurriness around the text because it's not able to explicitly render text in a specific cell. The second is that the colors on it are washed out. So if you're looking at this, it's probably hard to tell given your my phone camera, but there's a lot less contrast between these colors and what there is if I load up Google Maps on my phone, or if I load up the stock navigation app on the car. And that just makes it just harder to read. If you're driving along and you're wearing glasses in particular, and that's what my wife and I deal with, it is harder to see the screen than the original stock OEM navigation system. So that was our first issue with it. The second one, I talked about a little bit about this in the installation video, is the fact that you cannot get XM radio and Android Auto to work at the same time. Because it works using source, because it's overloading the aux on the system, you have to, if you go to XM, then you can see here that this is working with XM. I'm going to turn the volume down just so that it doesn't get a copyright strike. But XM is running now. But in order to get back to CarPlay, there's either two things. I either have to go here and hit the aux setting to load Android Auto, or I have to if I make a phone call, it will transfer back over to Android Auto because that automatically hijacks the system. So that's an issue. If we got this because we wanted to be able to retain the default functionality of the system, but that doesn't extend to SiriusXM. I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, why don't we just use the the SiriusXM app on the on Android Auto? It's a really good point. I've got a SiriusXM app here. I could load it up and use it fine. That's fine. It's just we prefer having the radio not burning through our data as we are traveling around town. So that's kind of the second issue that we have with this system. And the third one is kind of weird. Some of the functionality of the system is a little clunky. So for example, if I go to apps and I hit navigation, unfortunately what ends up happening on this is that after a couple of seconds on the screen, it will sometimes disappear away from the navigation screen with no good reason for doing that. So I'm going to go back to the CarPlay system here. Oops. It's not a terrible system. I think most people would find it usable. It's got a decent amount of functionality without completely removing the functionality of your system, but it does have those limitations. It just makes it a little bit clunkier. If you're not sort of into tech for the sake of tech, which this is my wife's car, she would kind of rather just have a car that behaves like a car. It is a little clunky to get around. It's innovative the way that it uses the OEM system to project everything, but it does require that you sort of fiddle around to get it to behave. Overlaying the aux video is a clever way of doing things, but it is not perfect. And as I said, the main issue here is this sort of washed out analog video kind of feel that the system has. If that doesn't bother you, and really this is, you can see here, this you can tell that it is not as clear as the stock piece, but you can also see that this is not a disastrous. This isn't like sort of 1980s analog video technology. This is pretty crisp by analog terms, but we've gotten spoiled by digital displays, and even the display in this 10-year-old Rav4 is better than the overlaid video that is being sent out by this unit. So for that reason, we're going to probably end up returning this, unfortunately, but we wanted to put that video out there just to show that we'd given it careful consideration. So hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully if you still find that this would be good for you, I have the installation video on my channel, and there are links in both of these videos to the device if you're still interested in getting it. Thanks for watching.